Oh, well, let's talk about another big fella up front, or not for that matter, when it comes to starting for Spurs. Richarlison very unhappy with his limited minutes at the moment. He says he was told he would start against Milan, but obviously he was left on the bench. He took a bit of a shot at Antonio Conte after the game, speaking to Brazilian media. Not very happy about that decision at all from his coach, and it does seem as though there might be a bit of upset between the two parties here when it comes to Richarlison and Conte. Has he said a little bit too much there, Craig?
I don't know. He's not happy, yeah? Makes me look chirpy, doesn't he?
Well, that's some job there.
Well, if he wanted, to be fair, if he wanted game time and guaranteed, he should have stayed at Everton, because he was never going to get regular game time with this Tottenham manager, with that shape that they play, generally with sort of Heung-min Son and Kulusevski sort of running from a slightly, not a wide position, but a little narrower behind, and he's a different option for them in terms of that style. You know, and he talked about it himself. He'll give his life. He will. I say give his life. That's a bit too much. But he'll give everything when he comes on. More of a physical presence. But it's a different skill set to the ones that are actually playing behind Harry Kane. And so he must have known that before he joined the club, and it's frustrating. Frustrating when you're a player, but yeah, he's clearly not happy with Conte. And listen, I don't begrudge him the fact that I'll not share the same terminology as him, but I don't begrudge him the fact that he's annoyed about not being playing. That's a good thing.
I sympathise as well. First of all, it's easy to take a shot at a manager when you know the manager's on the way out. Everybody knows Antonio Conte is on his way out. Fans aren't happy with the style of football. Fans aren't happy with the results. That being said, if I'm Richarlison, I fully understand why you're as frustrated as you are. You come to Spurs. I'm sure, leaving Everton, you come there. You're promised certain things in terms of maybe your own playing time, the titles that the club will be pushing for. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself not a part of things. And to his point, you get two good results and then one poor result against Sheffield United in the Cup, and you're out. And I totally understand. I totally understand why he's as frustrated as he is. I totally understand why he's lashing out as he is. It's a good time to do that, as I mentioned. And at least keep your name in the headlights. At least people know that you're still around. You're still every bit as passionate as you always have been. It could have been so much easier for Antonio Conte to make changes because of how poor Spurs have been. Yet you just not gotten a fair enough shake. I sympathise.
Will you start him at the weekend, Nadem?
I'd be surprised if we saw him at the weekend, but maybe I'm misjudging Conte. But it's interesting because, you know, for him going from Everton to Spurs, as one thing you can see, whenever there's a transfer that happens, there's something that will be said to you by the club, whether it's by the manager, sporting director or whatever, telling you what their plan is for you at this new football club. And what we can see here clearly from Richarlison was that the plan was for him to never be the guy who just comes off the bench for 20 minutes a pop. So I'm interested what they said his role was going to be. But then lo and behold, the way football is, I promise that the start doesn't guarantee action at the end. I think you can even see that in the way that the last week has been for him, where he thought he was going to play. Then he's on the bench. And in some ways, he's said a lot. Conte is probably not going to take it well. But in fairness, for me, it shows that he cares, because there are lots of other people who sit on the bench and they're very, very comfortable being there. But the metaphor he's trying to say about giving his life on the field, I think that he is that type of player. I think he feels he deserves more action. I'd like to have seen him more. But unfortunately, you know, Conte has the people he prefers to play week in, week out, regardless of the result. And it's a shame for him the move hasn't worked out the way that it has done so far. But this is football. This is the way that it works. I'm sure he's going to continue to work hard. But I'm sure Conte will just remind him who's the boss in the next few days. And yeah, I'd be very surprised if he ended up getting a lot of game time going forward.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.